Welcome to another video. This question requires that we show that the absolute value of tan A minus tan B is always greater than the absolute value of B minus A if you go from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2. If you are a calculus student, calculus 1 student, this might be something you go, what in the world is this? How am I supposed to figure this out? If you're taking advanced calculus, well, you can't complain, but you have to be able to figure this out. There are only two things required for you to be able to do this. You have to know the mean value theorem, which has been recommended to use, and you have to know your trig also. If your knowledge of trigonometry is weak, it's going to affect your effectiveness in this problem. So, two things you must know: the mean value theorem, and your trig has to be solid. If you have those two, I think you're going to be able to answer this question. Well, if you're struggling with it, this is why I'm making the video. Let's get into it. So let's begin by checking the conditions for the mean value theorem. It says that you have a function. If that function is continuous on this interval, we know that tangent is continuous on this interval, and it's differentiable on the open interval, which is from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2, because we know this is, so this is the graph of tangent. This is pi over 2. This is pi over 2, this is negative, that's positive, and we know our graph of tangent goes somehow like this, right? That's our tangent. So it's continuous and it's differentiable. We know that. There are no kinks and there are no corners. So it satisfies these two first conditions. Then if this is true for tangent, because that's the function we're dealing with in this case, then there is a c between this and this point. There has to be a c somewhere here, so that if you take the derivative of tangent and you plug in c, it will be exactly equal to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. That is tan b minus tan a over b minus a. We don't know what a is. We don't know what b is. We don't care at this point. It doesn't matter what they are, but if you pick any 2 points, a and b, you will always find a c between them that satisfies this condition. And that's why this is easy, because all you need now is just write tan b, write tan a, write b minus a, and know what the derivative of tangent is, because that's the function. If you're able to do that, you answer it. So how do you start answering this question? This is what you say. You say that tan x is continuous on the closed interval a, b, and differentiable, I'm going to shorten this, on a, b. It has met the two conditions. We know that because it's tangent, right? Then there exists a c that is within this interval AB, such that the derivative of tan x, okay, let's put it here, the derivative of tan x evaluated at c. I want to write it this way because I don't want to use f of c, but we're talking about the derivative of tan x evaluated at c must be equal to tan b minus tan a over b minus a. That's it. You notice that this definition does not include absolute values, okay? Because if you don't put the absolute values, this sentence cannot be correct. So there's a reason why they both have absolute values. Okay, now, what is the derivative of tan? This is secant. Secant squared x evaluated at c will just be secant squared c. Remember, you just plug this into it. So this is f of x evaluated at c is secant squared c will be equal to tan b minus tan a over b minus a. Okay, guess what? We can cross multiply so that tan b minus tan a will be equal to secant squared c multiplied by b minus a. Nice. So, based on what we've done, this is true. Because this could be negative, this could be negative. But one thing is certain. This, you can see, if we pick points from here, whatever we get will be some very negative number minus another negative number. So you could get negative values here when you subtract. You could get negative values here when you subtract. But the only part that does not have a problem is this, because secant squared c would always be positive. Why? Because the secant of any number is positive or negative. But by the time you square it, it becomes positive. So this is always positive, right? But if it is always positive, it could be a fraction. Because if you have a proper fraction here, if these two are the same, if you have a proper fraction here, what happens is, let's say this is 1/2 and this is 5, or let's make this 4. Then this has to be 2. So if this is always a fraction and this increases, let's say this becomes 1, then this is no longer an equation, right? So this is the case with secant itself. The smallest value of secant you can get between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2 is 1. That is the minimum you can get for this. So whatever you have, this side is whatever is here multiplied by at least 1. So imagine we make this 4 and you make this, I'm trying to explain this, and you make this 1. Because that's the smallest that secant can be. And secant squared, the smallest it can be is 1 here. Remember that this is the graph of cosine. In case you've forgotten, the graph of cosine goes like this, here. And secant sits on top of it, like this. You remember? So this is the secant graph. The smallest value is 1. Any other thing you get here is greater than 1. The square of it is even greater than 1. So the conclusion you're drawing here is, if this is 4 and at any point this is equal to this is the biggest that this can be. The biggest this can be is 4 when this is at the smallest. If you increase this to 1.5, if this stays at 4, this has to go smaller. So whatever happens, this will always be greater than this if this is positive, right? Because if this is negative, it's going to become a problem. And that's why, in order to avoid the confusion of which one is bigger or which one is smaller, we just put the absolute value signs. Because now, if I put absolute value signs here and here, whatever is here is positive, positive, and if this is positive, and this is, say, 1.5, you can see that this is not true. In order to make this sentence true, I'll have to reduce this. Okay? So if I reduce this, this is going to be divide 4 by 1.5. That means, that should be 6, right? That should be, no, that should be, what should it be? Why did I choose 1.5? I'm going to choose 2. My math is terrible. Okay, let's choose 2. Assuming secant is 2, then this is going to be 2. So this is greater than this. If this increases, this gets smaller. If this reduces, this gets bigger. But whatever happens, this sentence will always be true, that this is either greater than this or equal to it. That is the least, because the least this could be is 1. So now let us write what I just explained in many words in 1 or 2 sentences. Since secant squared x is greater than or equal to 1 for all x, let's use c. Secant squared c is greater than 1 for all c on the interval AB rather, on the interval AB, whatever this is, we can say that the absolute value of tan B minus tan A will be greater than or equal to, because this will be 1, greater than or equal to 1 times the absolute value of, what is this? A B minus A. Do you see what I just did? Since secant squared, C will always be greater than or at least 1, then this will always be greater than, just introduce this other side to be 1. That same minimum here becomes the number you put here. So it appears we've come to the very end because you just need to multiply this by 1. But what I started with was tan A minus tan B, not tan B minus tan A. It doesn't matter because of the absolute value signs. Even if you switch the positions, the minus is cancelled out. Because of this, everything that comes out is positive. So the absolute value of 1 minus 2 is the absolute value of 2 minus 1. It doesn't matter. So just to make it look like this, I'm going to write this as the absolute value of tan A minus tan B is greater than or equal to the absolute value of B minus A. And we have successfully shown what was required. Ladies and I don't need to do this box. I'm so used to solving equations, but that's a proof. Never stop learning. Those who stop learning, stop living. Bye-bye.